This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV. We're in Glasgow here for the press conference for He Who Dares.
Rodders.
Indeed. Did you get that idea from there?
From Only Fools and Horses?
Yeah.
Yeah, we was in Scotland and we were doing a show in Glasgow, and I thought, let's put a little Only Fools and Horses spin on it. Genius.
Did you really?
No.
Where did you get it from? It must have come from there.
He Who Dares. It's like about, it's about Burns coming back and daring to go again. It's about Woodhouse coming into behind enemy lines, if you like, to fight Limon for 2 belts. It's about Camacho coming up to probably a torrent of stick that he'll receive on Friday. So, He Who Dares, Rodders.
He Who Dares. I know this is
for a while. Well, it doesn't feel like we've had a proper interview for a while.
We done a 2-hour Q&A the other day.
Questions from other people.
Hmm.
Wasn't you stirring your pot, was it?
I don't stir the pot. I just do my job.
Do you?
Yes. Job. Do you see? I said it's job and not hobby. I know this is about Ricky Burns, but the chief support on this, Camacho and Simmons.
Well, Woodhouse Limon.
Yeah. But
I feel like you're a bit of a... You like... what works for IFL is controversy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you love Simmons Camacho because it's got bundles of it, plenty of animosity, it's a grudge match. You're here today on the desperate hope that something goes off at the press conference in a respectable way that helps you get views. But probably from a credibility perspective, you'd have to say Woodhouse Limond was the chief support with the British and Commonwealth light welterweight title on the line. Okay.
Would you say that Camacho Simmons is the more talked about fight on this bill?
Only within a certain internet group. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, it's spilling out into the papers up here today were talking about that fight, but Limon's pretty big up here as well. And Woodhouse is quite popular, I mean, from winning the British title against Darren Hamilton. So if you look at total mass, this is getting quite boring now. Woodhouse Limon is bigger, but if you look at probably the boxing online community and a little bit in Scotland, then you'd probably say Simmons Camacho is bigger and could be much bigger in an hour.
Okay,
but sometimes it's an anti-climax, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
i.e. Foxgrove's final press conference.
Yeah.
Massive.
Sorry about that.
That was anti-climactic.
Sorry I let you down.
It's alright. Alright, let's talk about the third most important fight on this bill. Simmons and Camacho first. Obviously, Waddy had all these problems by not being able to attend the original press conference for this show. All those problems are sorted. But someone asked you a question in the press conference about whether you were worried about this spilling over into something, but will it be quite respectful?
Do you know what? I've spoken to both boys, and I think they're bright enough to know they don't like each other. But the great thing about boxing is you get a chance to settle the score in the ring. And I think Simmons will be trying to keep his head, because if he loses his rag, he has much bigger chance of losing the fight. So I think he'll be trying to make sure he keeps calm, and Waddy will no doubt be winding him up a little bit, but I don't expect anything. I've told both boys, and I think they're at a level where they hopefully will listen to my advice, because if they don't, they could get banned, or they could get reprimanded or fined, and no one wants that. And we've got an image to protect for the sport, and things are going very well at the moment, so let's not ruin anything. Yeah, have some banter, have a little semi-Glasgow kiss, but nothing too OTT. But I'm looking forward to it, because both guys like to talk, and remember the banter last time, or the conversing, was some good, some terrible.
Some very terrible.
But they're quite they're juniors in the whole press conference, and so it's nice to see these young lads emerging, and an important fight in a great division at the moment. I mean, taking away the animosity between the two, a great fight for the division, and also an important fight in the division, because you've got Oval now cleaning up British and Commonwealth titles, Bellew and Cleverly on the bigger scale, and we need someone else to move forward, and the winner of this will do so.
We'll wait and see what happens with that today. Ricky Burns, important fight back for him after the Terence Crawford defeat against the unbeaten Zlatican. What do you know about him, Ed?
I just know that what I've watched, he's very tough, quite short, undefeated, 18-0. I think he's ranked 7 or 8 with the WBC. Likes to throw in these big hooks, come forward. It's a tough fight for Ricky on a couple of levels. Obviously, confidence level, new trainer, and he's a southpaw, which is not ideal. But Ricky looks great. You know, I saw him with Tony yesterday on the pads and working the bag. It's difficult to take what you've learnt from your new trainer into such a big fight like this. You probably would have liked him to do an 8 or a 10 rounder just to sort of, you know, progress what you've learnt. So very important, and a loss would be catastrophic. It would certainly dash all world hopes. So it's a must win fight. I think, and without putting too much pressure on him, I think you're gonna see a very impressive Ricky Burns on Saturday night, and I really hope that you do, because I want people to get excited again about Ricky. I think a lot of people will be watching thinking, have we seen the best or the end of Ricky Burns? And on Saturday you'll find the answer to that question. Friday. Keep saying Saturday. This show is on Friday night. No football.
Realistically, you obviously want to hopefully get Ricky back into the world title mix, but realistically, how far is he away? If he comes through this fight looking a little bit ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like him to have one more fight before he fights for the world title, but again, it depends how he looks in the fight. With Ricky, you've got the benefit of him being able to bring over, you know, to have 10, 11, 12,000 crowds, so you can bring the champions over. So I think that I'd like to get him into the mandatory position, but you're able as a voluntary challenger to try and bring a challenger here because of the revenue that Ricky can bring to a fight. So he's in a great position, but we just got to see what he's got left, and I believe he's got plenty left in the tank, but we'll find out on Friday night.
Indeed. The actual chief support, Woodhouse against Limond. What are your plans for Curtis?
Well, Curtis is with Dave Coldwell, and you know, Willie's with Alex Morrison. I just think this is a great fight for the division. It's a great domestic fight. I like Curtis a lot. I've got a lot of time for him, and I think what he's achieved is phenomenal. So I like Willie Limond a lot. I think if you look on, I've been thinking about this fight quite a lot in the last 24 hours. If you look at the facts and if you look on paper, Limond should win the fight because of the level he's mixed in. He hasn't always won at that level, by the way, but Curtis hasn't really mixed in that kind of level. I know he boxed Frankie Gavin, and the win against Darren Hamilton was a great win, but in Willie's backyard, I don't know, but Curtis and Dave and Ryan are so confident about this fight. They just think they're going to be too big, too strong. But it's a fascinating one because I have no idea which way that fight's going to go. Willie's got a huge amount of support, so bundles of tickets. And Curtis is sort of coming with a newfound confidence, I think. And he can't see anything but a win for himself on Saturday. And I just don't know how that one's going to go. Total 50-50.
Scotty Cardle, also in a step up.
Yeah, I mean, slight step up. I mean, we've secured Kurt Goodings for Cardle for September. It's like September the 13th, we'll go in Manchester. So that's a final eliminator for the British title to become the mandatory, and for the English title as well. It's a good fight for him. So this is really, I wouldn't say, you know, because he's in with quite a decent kid, so it's not really a tick over. But it's just about getting the rounds under the belt. I don't think this kid's ever been stopped. I think it will go 8. Just get the rounds under the belt, because the Godins fight is a tough fight for Cardle. Great fight. So he's right on the cusp now. Speaking to his dad yesterday, and they're all chomping at the bit to dive into these big fights. But I said to him, once you dive in as a prospect, if you like, if you lose that, then it's a big, big blow to the career. So you've got to make sure you're ready. And fights like the one on Friday, which will give him the rounds and the experience, will put him in good stead for the Godins fight. But that is a really tough fight.
As with all your Scottish shows, obviously the local Scottish talent, Slowey, Brophy, Michael Roberts, all on the bill as well.
Yeah.
Callum Johnson.
Callum Johnson's having his first fight with us, Commonwealth champion. Real good talent. I think that there's a really good fight on the bill between John Slowey and Chris Hughes for the Scottish title, which was a really good fight last time. Brophy and Roberts, probably their last fights before they get slung in the deep end when we return here, probably in October. Hugh Gray, a couple of other young kids on the bill as well from Scotland. So plenty of fights. I think 11 fights in total, but something for everybody.
Absolutely. What on earth is going on with Kell Brook?
It's like the other day on Twitter was just mad. I mean, we've heard Kell Brook's pulling out. He's injured. I mean, I don't know where people get these stories from, but it was quite a weird string of events, really, because I saw Sean Porter on June the 13th, which was at the weigh-in to Rose versus Andrade, and I told him we've signed the contract, which we had, and Golden Boy received the fully signed, it's called a provision of services contract, which is securing the services of Kell Brook for the fight, from us on the 16th of June. And it was signed as fully executed, so signed by them as well. Now the IBF require a bout agreement, which is to be sent to the IBF. We signed our bout agreement, sent it off, sent it back to Golden Boy, they sent it on to the IBF. So then nothing more was said. We were waiting for the date. We were told it was going to be August the 9th, but within the contract it has to be before September the 7th. And then I saw an article from Sean Porter on Monday saying Brook hasn't signed, we don't know what's going on. So I phoned up Arnold Joseph, who's a Golden Boy lawyer. I said, what the fuck's going on here? I said, you know we signed? Yeah, I know you signed. Don't listen to Twitter stuff. I said, no, it's not Twitter stuff. It's Sean Porter telling us that, you know. So he said, look, you know you've signed a contract, it's been sent to the IBF, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, it just doesn't smell right. So I phoned the IBF. Oh, we've got your bout agreement, but we haven't got Sean Porter's bout agreement. Okay. And the deadline was yesterday. Otherwise he would have got stripped for not signing his bout agreement.
Has he signed it now?
He has. I spoke to Golden Boy, IBF. I'd rather speak to the IBF to get the full story. Lindsay Tucker emailed me last night and said I've seen the bout agreement from Porter, so he's signed. So
he signed, Brook signed, the fight done?
The fight's done.
Date
is the only thing we're waiting on. It was going to be August the 9th. Within the contract has to happen before September 7th. It could be September 6th. That's the date I think's in play. August the 19th's in play. Obviously Kell's in camp. We need to know. Been told by Golden Boy I should know by the end of play today. I would think more likely by the end of the week. But so many people talking about the fight. I mean, you know, I was reading things saying Brook's pulled out, thinking, has he? Spoke to him 10 minutes ago, he's firing. So,
do you know, from an outside perspective, you know, like with all the stuff that's gone on with Kell Brook and the injuries and this mandatory situation for such a long time, can you see why people, like, just from a fan point of view, whether you're a fan of Brook or not, could look at it and go, well, it's just every day it's unlikely this fight's happening. Could you see why they'd think that?
Yeah, but you've got to look at the circumstances. I mean, he had an injury the first time, which was a foot injury, which he couldn't run properly, and they sprung the fight on us, and he wasn't going to make the weight. So I was up front with Golden Boy. The second time, Alexander tore his bicep and pulled out, and the third time, Kell had a double stress fracture in his foot. It was impossible for the fight to happen. So all I ask people is that think about, this is a kid who's trained his whole life for a world title shot. He's got a deal that is unbelievable, and we included so many things in the contract that were so integral to us. You know, random drug testing is one, and that's not a reflection of Sean Porter at all. That's a reflection of my belief that this sport needs to adopt random drug testing across the board all over the world. This is a sport where the aim is to go in and beat another man with your fists, right? To have fighters, and there are fighters out there using, we know that, it's been proven. To have fighters potentially using performance-enhancing drugs is dangerous, and it must be eradicated from the sport. So that's something we push for in all our big title fights, and different commissions have different policies. It's not like in the UK where there's a universal governing body, British Boxing Board of Control, who monitor this. In America you've got different commissions who have different policies on everything. But this is something I feel really, really strongly about. And that was one of the reasons why, you know, we did do a deal and we didn't go to purse bids, because I wanted that in. You know, it's really important. And I think from a date perspective, we just sit and we wait now for the date. But getting back to your point, think about, this is a lifelong ambition and desire for Kell Brook to win that world title. He was absolutely heartbroken at having to pull out the first time. These are fighters. You know, I phoned him up on Monday night. I said, you know, Sean Porter might not sign this bout agreement, and if not, it could be stripped tonight, and you'll fight for the vacant title against Ian Dan. Phone just like, I said, see, I want to fight Porter. I said, yeah, but it's a much easier fight. He said, I know, but I'm training for Sean Porter. I want Sean Porter. This is a fighter's mentality. My mentality would be, give me the easy kid. Do you know what I mean? But Kell's he wants to fight the best. He's got a point to prove because of all these people that are doubting him as well. So Kell Brook will be ready, and Kell Brook will beat Sean Porter. He will knock him out. And I believe that with every inch of my heart, honestly. And I honestly think he has got 2-3 gears that no one's ever seen before, and he's going to have to show those gears to beat Sean Porter, but I believe he's got them.
Is there a possibility that an extension could be applied to that date you said of September the 7th? Is that a possibility?
Not within the contract, not within the agreement. If he gets injured, then the IBF would have to make a decision as to whether they strip him or not. But you've got to remember as well, Coogan, Sean Porter's a fighter. He wants to fight. He wanted to fight on August the 9th. He wants the money, mate. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't want a delay. No one wants. A delay is no good for anybody. They've got their initial delay. It was July the 16th or something was the original delay. They came to us, and if it would have gone to purse bids, the person would have been able to stage it before September 7th. So within our agreement, they asked if they could go to that date, and I was happy because of the package we got, because of the guarantees we got, and so was Kell. So ideally, August the 9th would have been perfect for Kell Brook because he's been in camp for 6-7 weeks, and his weight's absolutely spot on. But sometimes you've got to wait 2 or 3 weeks. You've got to wait 2 or 3 weeks. And this is what I'm saying about the mandatory position. No one can take that away from Kell. So there's no strokes. There's nothing that anyone can pull to stop Kell Brook from getting this opportunity. And that's the power of the mandatory position.
New York's still the most likely venue?
I don't know. I mean, I doubt it now because they're talking about August 9th for New York. So I think there was some talk of LA on August the 16th. But until I get some hardcore facts, there's no point speculating or listening to someone on Twitter who says it's here and there, and you know.
But it will be in America.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know, I've been out in Marbella.
Oh yeah.
Recently.
Didn't notice a lot of videos.
I don't really know what to say to that, to be honest. We were only there 3 days.
Hit it hard.
Didn't hit it hard, but it weren't really. We did go out there, but like I do on a lot of my holidays, I take the camera with me and nick what we can and things like that. But
it's good. I'm hoping to get out there in next couple of weeks. Looks like a great little setup, you know. I mean, couldn't get much better, could it? Training in the sun, you know, go out, do your session, sit down. I think they've got apartments out there, villas, you know, chill out around a pool, then go again. It's lovely to train in that climate.
Yeah. You talking about yourself?
I'm talking about athletes.
I thought you were talking about yourself. Did you see my interview with Frank Warren I did on Monday?
Yeah, briefly. I mean, I went through it. I mean, it's one of them. You know, I mean, look, I take the mickey out of my old man because I think he's so far off the pace as well, and I put Frank in that same category. You know, great promoters of the past, but some of the things he was coming out with, I mean, it was so far off the pace. I mean, one, he shouldn't really be talking about my fighters' purses, and two, he's miles off the numbers. Anyone who sits there with pieces of paper to prompt him in an interview, you know, probably needs to be doing something else. He's got one piece of paper telling him about all the fights on July the 24th or whatever their card is, and he's got another piece of paper telling you about all the times I've sent a fighter to America. I mean, like, it's... I just let him get on with it, you know what I mean? I mean, the more promoters the better, the more TV channels the better. We let our work do the talking. You know, I saw one of his comments that our success was down to him and Box Nation, and I mean, so deluded, it's frightening. But so I'll just get on with my work, as I said to you, for years and years. And facts speak louder than words. You know, and if you look at the facts about us sending fighters to America, like, it's nothing new. I mean, you're talking about probably when he sent Gary Lockett to fight Kelly Pavlik and Jennings to fight Cotto, I mean, these were quite one-sided events, you know. But they got paid well. They got the opportunity. I don't blame them for going. I don't blame him for sending them, or whoever sent them, you know. But the facts speak louder than words. Since I've held a promotional license in 3 years and approximately 3 months, I am the only promoter that's brought a world champion to the UK for a British fighter to challenge them. And that's Lucian Bute and that's Mikhail Kessler, both to fight Carl Froch. No one else has brought a champion during that period. And, you know, yes, we've sent Purdy, Reese, Bellew and Rose over, but yeah, Derek Chisora went to Germany to fight Klitschko. John Murray went to New York to fight Brandon Rios and got badly beaten in that fight. Macronelli went to Germany recently to fight Bramer. I don't blame anyone for sending those fighters or giving those fighters the opportunity. That's what you do. And on purse bids, you know, I mean, he said that he would have put Rose versus Andrade as chief support on one of his bills. What, at the Copper Box? Or at York Hall? I don't think so. I mean, it's like, it's so far off the pace, it's frightening. But the bottom line is, as I'm sure he understands purse bids, when you're on the 25% of the end, it's very easy for another promoter or your home promoter to manipulate your edge. So the Brian Rose purse, for example, I'm not talking purses, but it's nowhere near what he said it was. I'd have to bid probably around $600,000, $700,000 to be competitive in that bid in proportion to Rose's purse. So, like, those numbers just don't add up. We're a proper credible business. We pride ourselves on the fact that we're very successful in everything we do. And we run our business off numbers. Very simple. Yeah, we roll the dice. Yeah, we like to take a punt. You know, we did it with Lucian Bute and it paid off. We'll do it again in time. But sometimes the figures are so far apart. And when you sit down with Brian Rose and you say, listen, this, that, but this is the package you've been offered for America, you know, and when he talks about the TV money, Brian Rose got every penny of the TV money. What do you think? We hired it somewhere, you know, keep it to ourselves. So we're transparent. That's what we do. Speak to Brian Rose. And also, it's important for Brian Rose to box on Sky because he wanted his world title fight to be on Sky, nowhere else. And it's the same with Kell Brook against Sean Porter. Kell Brook's got plans to become a pay-per-view fighter on Sky once he wins the world title. So why would he want another network, Animal Planet or whatever it is, picking up his show? You know, so listen, you can't. I'm not here to knock Frank. He's done fantastic in the game. It's so far off the pace, it's frightening. So, you know, I think next interview you should do with him, he shouldn't be allowed any cue sheets. You know what I mean? He should just speak his mind without being prompted about what to say. But we will continue to send fighters all over the world for great paydays, for great opportunities. But everyone is on a case-by-case basis. You know, Gavin Reese got hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight Adrian Broner. Do you honestly think Adrian Broner was going to come to Cardiff to fight Broner? And he was a voluntary. You know, and it's like, do you want to keep your fighters stagnant, fighting for domestic titles? These kids have got dreams. Everybody's got ambitions. And do you know what? Sometimes you just might not be good enough. But let's find out. You know, and Frank's talking about, sometimes I put my money on the table. I like to gamble. I like to roll the dice. Well, why not gamble and roll the dice by trying to win a world title in one of the biggest markets in world boxing? Is that not the same thing? You know, sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. We bought Terence Crawford to UK to challenge. He was the mandatory challenger. We paid a lot of money, and Ricky Burns lost, and he would have got more than double to go to America for that fight. Perhaps we should have taken it. You know, Frank brought Sergei Kovalev over. Might have paid a lot of money. That was a voluntary defence, by the way. Possibly one of the worst pieces of matchmaking I've ever seen. But again, that's another story. I'm not here to criticise. I'm here to enjoy. I'm here to grow the British boxing on a daily basis. We're doing very well. Thank you very much. And if I need any advice, I'll give you a bell.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
In the interview, Frank said that he was going to make an offer for McDonnell and Butler. Have you received an offer?
We haven't received any offers. Not the first offer, not the second offer. I presume he's playing silly buggers and sending it to Jamie McDonald's, what we believe, former manager. There's a dispute with the board. If you want to make the fight, phone up me, let me know, we'll make the fight. I'll offer Paul Butler $200,000. He says on Twitter, I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Dollars, pounds?
Sorry, £200,000. Thank you for correcting me on that, Coogan. It's very important. It's about 60 grand you just cost me there. And we haven't heard back. So, you know.
Okay.
Jamie McDonald's just got. If Frank wants to offer more than 200 grand for that fight, and it's on Box Nation, I don't care where it is. If it's the right opportunity for our fighter, we'll have it. You know. But there's a lot of bitterness in boxing. You know. And I think it's one of those sports that maybe over the years, and one of those businesses that over the years, it ingrains you with bitterness, you know? Because I'm quite new to it, I'm quite fresh, and at the moment I don't really give a monkey's what anyone says. But maybe in 20 years I'll be the same. Pulling up emails and cue sheets and scripts, what to say in interviews, and you know. But I hope every promoter does well. I'm not here to try and put anyone out of business. It may just happen because we're very good. But I want everyone to try and succeed. As many channels as possible, as many promoters as possible, and I hope everyone does work together. They won't, because our job is to put on the best shows, the best fighters and the best fights as possible for our broadcaster. That's our job. But I won't deny one of our fighters an opportunity if it's there and if we all agree it's the right move. One thing you can't take away is, in my opinion, I believe that the majority of fighters, pretty much every fighter out there, on a blank canvas, starting from now, with no existing contracts, no agreements, would want to be with Matchroom and Sky Sports. And you know what? And it'll have to be a good decision for them.
Okay. Alright, well, Eddie Hearn, I think the press conference is
Can't wait.
about
Maybe
to
we'll
start.
catch up after.
If something happens, kicks off, we'll have to do another little bit.
Look forward to it.
But just touching back, you know, obviously we do a lot of stuff, and you know, we had 2 hours the other day. For our channel, it's good to get mixed views from
Of
everyone.
course. Listen, it's not, you know, and it's like you say, you're not Team Matchroom. We just do the most shows and the best shows. So you're going to be doing more Matchroom stuff than anybody else. That's just the way it is. If there was another promoter doing more shows than us and better shows than us, you'd be doing more stuff with them.
Yeah.
So it's very important to get the views of, you know, all these old fellas, my old man Frank, you know, and like the old school, because I'm new school. And some people won't like what I'm doing, but, you know, we're the future of British boxing in this country. I don't want to be, like, sit here and say and give it the big one, but that's the truth. We're young, we're fresh. We're going to be around for a long time, not just in the UK. You know, you'll see us in America next year, you know, promoting fights, and we plan to grow in various different markets. We're not going anywhere. So, but the people like my old man and Frank, they're Hall of Fame promoters. You know, I mean, my old man's sitting there with his ring, you know, proud Hall of Fame. These are very, very bright people, giving a lot to the sport, never criticise them. But times change. And my old man wouldn't be a good promoter now in boxing, I don't believe. He wouldn't be the promoter now that he once was, because times change, you know, and markets change. And we're bang in the middle, and we understand it, and we're absolutely flying.
All right, Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to IFL TV, and yeah, listen, if anything kicks off with...
And kick off, I don't like that word, you know.
Oh, come on.
This is a respectable sport. Oh, barbecue. Big Matchroom barbecue, July the 9th, Wednesday, at the HQ. A lot of big exciting news, new signings. We launch our Matchroom Fight Pass, also some other tie-ups with a lot of interesting people, so make sure you're there for that one.
Eddie Hearn, thanks for talking to IFL
problem.
TV, and we'll speak to you soon.